So, okay.
Is it recording now?
Yeah, it's recording now. It's recording. Hello, hello. This is this is Ethan calling live from your. It's Saturday Night Live. Sorry, I always want to say that one. Live from New York. It's Saturday Night Live. So yeah, repeat what you were saying about my feedback. Anyway.
Okay, so you've done your film with Georgia
Mm.
and Margaret Thatcher, and I think it's really good. Like on the time management one, you've managed to do one film. I mean, you could have done maybe another one.
Yeah.
You know what you want to do, so that's fine. So I would say continue on that one. And then Discovery, I think like you've been looking into this subject and like you seem to know quite a lot about it. Yeah, it seems quite nice at the moment, so I'd say continue on that one as well. And the idea is really nice, it's great, and you seem to know what you're doing. Continue.
So we need to do yours again. So.
No, but everyone needs to say what they think about yours.
Oh
It's
yeah.
not
So you
just
say
me.
what you think about my idea. So I told you my. Did I tell them my
not
idea?
really.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I'll have to
But
repeat it for the recording.
Yeah.
My idea is basically to put speakers around LCC, showing the power of speech, and maybe having different types of speeches, cutting up famous politician speeches to make something else. So, like, say for instance, Margaret Thatcher saying "kill the IRA, kill the poor" or something like that. It's looking at the power of speech in a space where you can't really escape it. Hacking a space, also hacking a person's mind, and looking at how political speeches can change a person's ideologies. What do you think of that idea, really? You have to introduce yourself.
Hi, it's KP. Yeah. Kind of. I like the idea because I always like projects to do with like sound and space. I'm actually gonna write a dissertation about it.
Oh yeah, I was going to do my dissertation.
But I guess it would be like, have you like chosen like what you're gonna quote about it?
Yeah, so it was going to be the famous political speeches. So it would be Barack Obama when he won the November 4th election in 2008. Margaret Thatcher at the Conservative convention in, I think it was 1979, maybe.
What is it that you're like? What is your intention of like the whole process?
Well, I think it was just looking at whether speech, do these speeches mean something to people, and like I was looking at like, say for instance, Margaret Thatcher was quite. I mean, her death brought out quite a lot of questions, and it was looking at like she got elected 3 times, but yet there were so many strikes and so many people hated her. So why did she get elected 3 times? It was looking at the power of that speech, or them speeches, or whatever she has said in the past, and whether they're actually powerful enough to change a person's mind in a couple of seconds. And the greatest thing a politician can do now is to hack the mind when people are walking around. I mean, you had Boris Johnson over the Olympics pop up on the tube, and everyone was just getting so pissed off with it. But you remember the messages, like make sure you check your transport and stuff like that. It was really annoying, but if you was in London over summer, you'll remember that speech coming up on the bus, and you'd be like, oh fuck my life, I have to listen to this now. But you remember, and I think it's one way, I suppose, in a sense, like looking at a person's political beliefs. So if like you had 2 rooms, one with the total right wing views and one with the left wing views, seeing whether people would stand more in that room than that room, or whether people would listen more in that room to that room. So I think
So you're thinking of like placing it on, displaying it on like a particular space.
Yeah.
That you've got chosen as
Yeah.
like a space.
so. One would be the atrium, and one would be the main hallway. I think I might do in the cafeteria as well, but it's just looking at. Basically, that's it, really. I think.
Okay.
So looking at this, like the ideologies of them speeches and why them speeches mean so much, and what makes that a great, what makes a great speech, and what makes that speech. Because the political life is defined by the speeches you give, because that's what the only way that people know you. So It's just looking at that. And like hacking the mind and hacking that space of as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's good. It's good. But it might like feel a bit like 1984, like
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like brainwashing people.
Yeah.
Talking
Yeah,
about.
well, that's why I wanted. I was thinking I was going to get George W. Bush in 2001 because that was a famous speech when he decided to go to war.
Okay.
You know, and that maybe the end part to that, and then I was going to get some Margaret Thatcher's 1979, Winston Churchill's going to war, the King's Speech, and things like that. I was going to get more British ones because American ones don't really mean too much to us, other than the famous ones of the war, when we had to go to war with Iraq, and the inauguration of the black president, I was about to say, but Barack Obama, because it was he smashed the ceiling, he smashed the glass ceiling, and you know he showed that a black man could be president, and now all the Americans need really is a white woman and a black woman. They've kind of smashed the ceiling totally, but yeah, that'll come in time.
I guess it would just like it would only like depend on like how your both quotation kind of like actually like lead you up to your like target or your intention. So like choosing your quotation and area where you're placing it, I guess that's kind of important, like
Yeah.
part where you have to.
Well, I think the atrium would be a good effect because it will echo, echo through it, and I think the corridor as well. So you would hear the bellows of the voice and how they pronounce it. Because the thing with looking at Georgia Mills doing it, she doesn't have the same effect of what Margaret Thatcher would have said it. And if Georgia Mills was going to stand up for an election, not that she would, but like say for instance, if that was her back in the 70s. It's kind of interesting to think if Margaret Thatcher said it like that, would it be as famous of a speech? But because the way she actually said it, it's quite. Oh, okay.
Good.
What do you think?
Yeah, I like it. Sounds like you've got. Hi, I'm Will. Yeah, it sounds like you got it all sorted. Like what they were saying as well. I like it. I like the idea of mashing up speeches.
Yeah.
So if you looked at I guess it's like things like Obama, like the songs that they do now.
Yeah.
Like they make it. That's really cool. Some of that sort of stuff. Maybe you should look at that. As well. I don't know. I think it sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just working out sort of what we want to communicate. Yeah. So you can have it in 3 different places.
I think 3 or 2. I think it's probably more likely to be 2 because I'm writing the email at the moment. So it'll probably be like 2 places I'll get it done in, because the canteen's quite, because it's got a lot of stuff in it. It won't echo that well, and when it comes over to lunch as well, it won't have the same effect. Whereas to have it in the atrium and in there, the corridor's quite big, and even when it's got a lot of people in it, quite. So I think.
When are you planning to do it?
Next Thursday, so when we've got to hand it in. So,
Okay. You have time to do it, as in record it and get it.
I should be able to get all the speeches done by Sunday night, and then I'll be able to go. He said I'll have to contact the person that's doing it by Thursday. I'll send the email today. I should hear something by tomorrow. So on and so forth. So it should get the ball rolling, and I should be able to get it done by next Thursday. I can't imagine. It'll take effort, but I can't imagine it'll take too much effort to get 4 speakers into 2 different rooms. That we're doing. When Colette did the Raindrop one, I don't know whether you heard it on Green Week.
Yeah.
She only needed 1 speaker for that because it had the same effect. So.
Yeah.
So yeah. So whose work are we looking at next? KP's or Will's or yours? Yours. So now we are looking at Anna's work.
So I'm
Recording it well.
Yeah, it's
at the
doing
moment I'm mostly doing experimenting. Let's see. And I'll be looking at image and text and image, and I found my inspiration from an artist called Sarah Charlesworth. And she's done those like newspaper pages where she's removed all text. And she's looking at the problematic relationship between text and image, and how images are read in the absence of text. And then I started looking about like how it looks today, when images they've taken like more space than text, and we see more images than we see text, and we see loads like of images on like web and like outside voices as well. So I started experimenting with removing images, and I removed my image, like profile image from Facebook, or profile picture, and also like I uploaded some blank photos, but I didn't get any reaction, so it didn't really happen anything, which is a bit boring. And I also like took a screenshot of some newspaper on the web, removed the images. And here you can see like where I removed my images like on Instagram and Facebook. I just got like 2 likes on Instagram, and like on Facebook no one said anything. My sister asked me like in the end of the day, it's like, why have you uploaded a white picture? That's your only reaction I got. So I
Either way, you get 2 likes on Instagram.
yeah. So I didn't think that was that interesting. Let's see.
That table at the back.
What's this? Where are all the other pages? They're gone.
Oh.
They're not here anymore.
What was there?
Like I had loads of other pages.
Did you not save it?
I did.
Is it not loaded? Sometimes they don't.
Sometimes,
Export.
yeah, and also if you get recovery mode,
Oh, here it is then. Okay. Yeah. And then I like tried to I took some photos of some magazines, and I wanted to see pattern as well, and like how images look with layout, like image like layout and text. So I did that, and how does different magazines differ from each other, and what is an image, and who decides what an image, and then like symbols and signs as well. So I had a look at that, and then I went to Chelsea yesterday to have a look at this catalogue, like exhibition catalogue, modern history by Simon Charlesworth. And then I tried out some more magazines, and then tried some like signs and symbols stuff, like magazines with different stuff. And yeah, and then Ethan like advised me to have a look at the new cover for George Orwell's 1984. Do that, and then I did this like very short stop motion thing. So I'm thinking about maybe doing like having different magazines and doing stop motions like of the whole magazines or something like that. So that's pretty much where I am now. I'm not really sure how to continue, but like I think it's really interesting with these patterns and stuff.
There was a project me and my sister were doing in June, and it's a bit different, but basically it was based on, you know when you go through these fashion magazines and you get like half naked, it's almost like pornography sometimes, and like, is that actually fashion? It's just like, so we was going to go and get some of these magazines. We was going to make a magazine of ourselves, and then we have like massive censor stickers all over it where it's just gone wrong, and you're like, no, censor that, censor that.
Yeah.
You know how you should get them like massive bars, censor.
Yeah.
We was going to do that, and it just reminded me of that. That's all. That's why I was saying it. So I mean, maybe you could get a whole magazine that is really controversial, or some like manifesto maybe, or something. Maybe, or something on that scale, or the university marking criteria, map it out, or something like that. I mean, I don't know, I think that's the way you're going forward with this project. It's that, I mean, what you've done so far is quite interesting actually. I really find it how you've got rid of the images and then sometimes you've got rid of the text. Because I mean, there is that saying that 1,000 pictures described 1,000 words. So, I mean, that you could use that as your project title brief underneath, you know. you could have what is worth hacking, and then you can put the title, picture that describes it. It's described in 1,000 words. Is that it? Have I got that right? Yeah, I think so. Have a look on Google, it'll have that saying somewhere. And I mean, the other thing is that you could have a look at it quickly as well. Is, you know, when you get an image and it means one thing, and then you get like that, you know, that picture I just showed you on Facebook anyway, of that dog putting his paw over the other dog, and it's just go, oh no, he doesn't want a treat, I'll have it though. You could have a look at them kind of images where it can mean a completely different thing just because of the text on it. I mean, that's quite an interesting thing to have a look at. Other than that, I think you're going on the right path. I mean, I did say an idea to you earlier, which was to get your life in several pages, make it to a small book, I don't know, or something, whatever. And you wouldn't even have to write it all. You could just write paragraphs, like 10 paragraphs of blank out parts that you wouldn't want people to ever know about. But they're there. It's like you've recorded that history down, but you just don't want anyone to know about it, and I think that's what you're doing anyway. Like you're showing history and what has been done and what's happened, because that's what magazine and newspaper are. They're recording history, and you're just blanking the parts that people shouldn't know about. You don't want people to know about. I mean, the classic example is the Chinese government. You know, if they don't want their people to know about it, they'll just get rid of it. So I don't know how they do it, but it's quite interesting how they do it. What do you think?
Well, I mean, she's already done like loads of research, so I guess she is on the right track.
I think now is more the time to start.
Yeah.
You've got bits of experimentation. I think you've got enough research to continue this idea and just keep pushing that forward and think of how could I apply this into a different way, of like whether it's my own life or whether it's I get an actual newspaper and just cut out or blank everything out. You know, I mean, you could get a really important time in history, like I don't know, 9/11, something like that. The Boston Tube, the Boston marathon bombing. And you could like blank out when you don't want people to know about that information, like forward art. You could just be like blank that out, blank this out. Oh, this image is too cruel, so we'll put some flowers in instead, and then stuff like that. So
they did quite a lot of that stuff during the war. Like they made out a lot of the I think there was a bomb dropped on a tube in London, and they made out like only like 2 people were slightly injured, but like 200 people died. Just trying to keep that morale up. So that kind of stuff, like, and especially like overseas, like a couple of people, like just like small units being killed, but actually like hundreds and hundreds of men being killed.
That was in Bank. That was basically the bomb. It's terrible, but it's quite funny at the same time. Like, not as in ha funny. It's just like, what the hell? It fell. It landed by Bank Tube and then went down the escalator, down to the bottom floor, onto the platform. It kind of just rolled, keep rolling down. And they all apparently from the like eyewitness accounts, they all just stood there and was like, what's this doing here?
How long?
And then the ground obviously went inside to itself. Apparently now, if you're in Bank tube station at night and no one's obviously in there because the tube closes at 12:30, there's been stories from like the people, like the night people, saying that they'll hear screams from the platform, like thousands of screams just going off, and they're like, what the hell is going on? And they'll run down to the platform and no one will be there. So yeah, it's quite scary actually. There's another one as well, which is quite weird. By me at Kennington, there's a loop called the Kennington Oval where the trains will go around on the circle to go back at north. And apparently, tube drivers have been sitting in this loop for about 20 minutes waiting for the lights to go. And they'll hear someone opening the doors and closing the doors, the carriage doors in between. And then, so they'll think, oh, maybe a passenger just stopped on there by mistake and just never got off. And then they'll look, they'll open the door and then there'll be no one there. And there's been 2 accounts of that, and they haven't even, the conductor and the tube driver haven't been on the same train.
Okay, but in one way, in what way do you think I should like present it? Like, do you want like, do you think it's interesting like having it stop motion, or would you like rather see it like in images?
I like stop motion.
Yeah,
That's
I like
quite works.
stop motion.
Yeah, I booked the flat room like for like Tuesday and Wednesday next week, so that I can do like the. Have you been there?
No.
Like, it's really nice. It's like it's called like flat room copy. It's like it's for animation, and they've got like a camera, and then you can also like photograph your work, and they've got a camera from outside, and you can like do things and do
It's the
animation.
best thing ever, because I've been there doing
Right.
like downstairs going like this and be like hold the
Yeah.
camera.
It's really good.
Where is that? Sorry.
It's just like very close to the letterpress and like
Oh, in the
photography,
photography
dark room
bit.
photography.
And you
Yeah.
can go down. And is it above? Is it? You can
Yeah.
take pictures.
Yeah, it's great. So book that one, like to make it look nicer, because otherwise the light will look different. So book that one for like Tuesday, Wednesday next week. If I want to do
I
stop
think
motions,
the stop animation works quite well. You can slow it down a little bit more, that's all,
Yeah.
so you can kind of get the gist.
to have like one second.
Yeah, so have it so every. Yeah, let's try now.
I mean, I don't
Yeah,
think
that's perfect. That speed is kind of maybe a bit slower, but
it
like
doesn't. I don't think it has to be all like same kind of like length of time. I think it could be fast in some parts,
Yeah.
slow in some parts.
like the first cover should be longer. Like
Yeah.
the front cover, say for instance, you've got the newspaper back there, and you blanked out the pictures on that first cover. That should be the first one, so you can kind of get, oh right,
Yeah.
that was the newspaper I seen the other day or something. I mean, you don't have to do newspapers. You could do a book that's controversial. You could do 50 Shades of Grey. And anything you find really disturbing.
That's basically the whole thing.
Yeah, you could do that. So it'd be like 50 Shades of Grey, just blanked out. Like, no.
It's kind of like the top secret thing there.
Another question too. Do you think it's better if they're like on this one? I've got the same color here as there. Is that better than having them like entire white?
I think having the same colour as the book pages just makes it look like there was. I think the white makes it look like you were supposed to know there was something there, whereas the book colour pages makes it look a bit like you wasn't sure if something was supposed to be there. You don't know now in modern art.
But you tried like pixelating it as well. That's really interesting. Like when they're on the police thing, they pixelate faces or whatever. That could be really interesting because it's almost like design as well in a way, like the pixels.
It's been like in like a contemporary, like a book design. Like loads of them have got like you know those texts. They are just like blank out like some words. So that just kind of remind me. I don't know somehow. It's like they've got all this writing and suddenly this word is just blanked out. And you know those contemporary book design. If you look at like ideas.
So do you feel happy with the feedback?
Yeah, just one more question.
Yeah.
Should I does it matter what kind of magazine or book or whatever I'm using? Or
I think you should do a controversial one maybe.
Yeah.
I think that will work better, or one that's happened recently. Do you want it? If you have one that happened recently, people will know what the story, the pictures were, and they'll go, well, this isn't right. Why has the image gone from here, or why has the text gone from here? And I think if something controversial like, I don't know, 50 Shades of Grey,
I like the idea of blanking out like whole pages.
like, this is too dirty, no. You could do something like that, so I mean, it's an idea anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you
So-
could even replace some of the words with like not as dirty words.
Yeah,
like,
so
you
you
could
could be
like,
like-
say like, and they held hands. And had a beautiful.
And then watch the
They
sunset.
lived there after.
You could like blank out and just be like, yeah, put a little bit over the top, and it's like. Yeah.
And they held hands. He gave her a flower. That was it.
Okay, great.
Sweet.
That's good. It's really interesting.
Yes, it's good.
I was gonna do my degree project about her work, or like not her work, but like I looked at her work very much when I did my degree project. Like I ended up not doing it, but like I've been interested in it since then. So it's really interesting.
I don't know, it's kind of like
But like she looked at like patterns as well, and like what kind of images that were in the magazines, like from different like from different countries, and like very often, like if it was like let's say 25th of April, then it would be like loads of images that were the same, and like at the moment it's been loads of pictures on the like bombers, like Boston Marathon bombers, like everywhere, on like all front pages. It's quite interesting as well.
You've done a lot.
Yeah, I guess it's because I'm like really into it. Okay.
Who's going next? I don't know if I want to go next.
Okay, KP, go next.
I mean, like, I have done an awful lot of work, but like, okay, mine feel really shit now, but like, I'm going like more into like a straightforward kind of answer of like idea of hacking. So, like, because there's only like a mini project, I wanted to go really easy with this. So, for example, like everyday life kind of like object, like cups, it's been designed to like pour in like liquid and you drink it with it. But then you could also use it as like, I don't know, like a flower pot or something like that. So I'm a bit more looking at like items like that. So I looked at like at this pencil I showed you before. But like,
Oh, that was really good. I'm doing that. Like to use it for ironing. Yeah. So good.
Hair straightener, use it as ironing.
That's great.
And like this, like, and I wanted to make something that I don't know that you could like paint or do drawing with. So a bit more like related to like kind of art, kind of craft. So like this hairdryer, it kind of blows like a hot air to the air. But if you have like, let's say, ink on like a hairdryer somehow, and you blow it, then ink might spread to the like the paper. You know, do you see what I mean? I don't know how it's gonna work, but like, I don't know.
You wouldn't want to do it at home though.
Just do it at people at LCC, like spraying.
Yeah, so I'm kind of looking at like this hairdryer and like this hair straighteners of this iron part. I thought it's kind of interesting, and thought I just drew it because you might use it as a hairbrush.
The thing is, what is quite interesting about yours, it's roughly all to do with the power of ink and how you can write down, you know, the power of the pen and how you know, they always say that's a saying of the pen's mightier than the sword.
Yeah.
And like again, wars have been caused through people saying the wrong thing through either a letter or something like that. So, I mean, it'd be quite interesting to see if you could just deal with ink as a raw substance.
Yeah.
Squeezing out loads of biro pens into one jar.
To draw it with it. Yeah, so I haven't really done too much so that like you guys could like feedback me, but do you see what I mean?
But I think it's interesting with those like everyday things. That kind of makes sense. That it's like everyday things that you use for different. Like I don't like think that it's necessary for you to just focus on one thing. You could like try out different things, and then you could bring like with you, I don't know, 4 like everyday things.
Sorry,
that you can use for different
it's of
purposes.
2F. It's like a rough overview of. Is it 2 Fs or 1? One, thank you.
One, yeah.
Off is a bit like I'm off.
Oh yeah, I'm off today.
So yeah, what were you saying?
So, yeah, like I don't know, having a couple of like maybe 4 everyday things that you can use like for different purposes. Because then you kind of, I don't know, it makes sense. It's like you've got these 4 things. Like it kind of shows an example of how many household things or like everyday things that you actually can use for other things.
That's kind of what I thought in a way as well. I thought of making like a list of things that we could use like everyday life in like kind of other ways.
Yeah, you could be like very easy, like someone having, I don't know, the fork, like, and then you can see someone eating with it, and then like,
Yeah, I'm like studying. Sorry.
I don't know.
Yeah, so I thought I kind of felt, am I moving a bit away from hacking then if I start to list them away and I don't know.
It feels like I've been moving away a bit from hacking as well. I think it's kind of what happens, like.
I like the idea of having like a series of different like examples of what you can do with like everyday items and stuff like that. Because that is kind of hacking them. as like having a different function to what they're actually.
That's actually like happening.
It could be quite cool if you just had like a series, like a couple of posters with like just different, like kind of gridded up, like different things.
Yeah, it'd be really nice to like post that.
And try and make them like, I don't know, like really interesting or funny or something like that. So it's kind of like
Humor.
And very, very like simple posts as well, and just having them, like, I don't know, as an like educational poster or something.
It kind of just bring me into mind that you know, like old kind of like a film or like photos, you place it on like a light projector,
Yeah.
and then if you like click it, it makes that typical sound like. Do you know what it is? It's like turning to the. I could like, I don't know. I'll show it to you next week. I'll do it. Yeah. Anyway.
Have you got any questions to ask?
Me, well, I think it's a bit early to ask me a question. It's good enough for me.
Did you want to do? Because you were talking about like image making with the ink. Are you still interested in that?
Yeah, I am. I think I'm gonna try it at home or try it here.
You know, I know this sounds really weird, but you could look at, you know when someone's going crazy and they go to a psychiatrist and then they see them jet images and they go, what does this remind you of? This one, this one, this one, and you could say like death, happiness, death. You know them ink blots. You could have a look at something like that and maybe make images out of them. Maybe. I don't know.
Just be like image making with really weird
I'm just gonna go to the
appliances,
next.
because there's like it's quite a famous artist who used like chopsticks and ink, and then she like dips the chopstick into the thing and she kind of like dribbles it, and it kind of goes like it's really interesting effects you can get from just like everyday items. Maybe you could do something, a series of posters using like hacked, I don't know, anything. It can be really crazy stuff. Seeing what kind of effects you can get from using it, like mark making and stuff like that kind of stuff.
I mean, like, one of my friends I know, he used to draw things with wine. But, like, he used, like, all sorts of ways. He, like, drinks it and then he sprays it with his mouth. Or he used, like, his fingers. He uses, like, chopsticks. He uses spoon. He uses brush. So that's kind of, like, fun as well. Yeah, I'll just look into it. Thank you.
Me next. I don't know, like I kind of want to do stuff around, I've been a bit behind, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want to do stuff around, I've been looking into like hacking and graphic design. Well, first I did quite a broad research into like general hacking, what it is, like mainly like the product hacking and that kind of stuff. But I'm more interested in I looked at the graphic design hacking book and various things online.
Is it in the library? Or do you think
No, it's like online. I got like a few pages. I haven't managed to find it. They got a website as well.
Oh, okay.
I kind of been like hacking JPEG images and stuff.
Oh, wow. You did it.
So I've just been like playing around with that kind of image making and stuff. What else? Just and that kind of a few other bits and bobs, artists who hack, various hack spaces around London. They have like these different places where you can go in and like basically hack stuff. And it's like all open source. You can basically use it. Anyone can use it. But like general stuff like that. But I'm more interested in hacking. Like you're talking about the JPEG, the map hacking, the GPS thing. I'm kind of looking at that kind of stuff, and I kind of want to do something around maybe taking a system and either like like a map or something like that, and then making something typographic out of it, like a typographic poster or something. Maybe not using GPS, but actually just using the system itself, so the lines that are already made, or taking an image or like a grid like of a building, and then like putting type onto it, using the lines of like the contours of the building and that kind of stuff. So kind of like, I've just been doing like playing around with some, just like with maps and stuff.
Yeah.
Just really quickly, they're obviously not very good. Like using that as a grid almost, or like a system within you can lay type onto. or taking an image, so taking a picture of the bin here and like laying type onto the lines of the building and like weaving its way into kind of stuff. And that's kind of one idea. But then I don't know what the posters would be on. I mean, I don't know. It's so loud in here.
Shut the fuck up over there! Trying to record! So who are we on about? Are we on about yours?
Yeah.
So
I
give
think
us
it's
a.
interesting. I like the grid thing with that one. Just like sorting things out.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's interesting with the grids, like finding, like, I don't know.
Kind of alternative systems, but using it for something completely different as a kind of, I don't know, as a kind of base to base design on. Another idea, yeah, that's kind of one route that I'm quite interested in going down. Just like finding, you can almost find systems in nature as well. Like, I don't know, like just certain trees or certain branches, take photos to make it 2D and then map design onto that somehow.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like hacking, hacking spaces as in to lay type onto.
So you're a bit like making like a pattern, certain pattern in the grid, and then you're doing something on top of it.
Yeah, so you use it as a base to design, so you're like hacking, no, it's hacking images in a way, or hacking systems that have already been made, like different
I like
maps,
that.
like you'd have different, like, so you'd have like in New York they have more kind of like, kind of more rigid, so you'd have different typefaces and stuff. They're really crap, and I did them really quickly last night, but you can get like the gist. You could probably make it look really nice if you like overlaid them somehow.
What would you want it to say?
I don't know, so maybe something to do with hacking. I don't know. That's the thing. Like, we're taking posters that have already been done, but then, like, almost you could take. I don't know, maybe posters and then like lay type up on it.
You said about systems in nature, which was quite interesting. There's a guy, forgot what he's called now. It's from bollocks. What is it? Ben Lotto, I think it is. He's a Swedish guy.
What's his name?
Ben Lotto, I think it is. Lotto or hang on, let me have a look. He's on what's it called? No, I want Ben. Yes, I think this is it. No, that's definitely not it. Ted. Ideas worth spreading. People, tools. Yeah. How do you pronounce it? B-E-A-U.
What does it say?
That one there.
Lotto.
Yeah, it is.
Or
It's
Lotto.
Ben Lotto. Is that how you pronounce it? Well,
I'd say Bo as in a French one, but like I don't think like it's like I don't know.
Well, he looks at colour and he goes and he can predict what colours people will put together through colours of nature, and it's really interesting. Like he was on a BBC Two programme a while back, but he looks at how so if I was given a board of 20 colours, he can predict what colours patterns I would make from it through nature, because that's my mind has been trained to look at through nature through the colours. Oh, again, oh, he's moving to the Science Museum.
Actually, cut it off and cut it like on top as well. It's not bleeding.
It's not like an artery or something.
No,
You're like
no.
bleeding out.
No, it would be like
Yeah.
I'd cut an artery. Be like, right, I'm going to the hospital. I'll see you like later.
I'm feeling a bit drowsy, guys.
Yeah, I'm just gonna faint over
Be
here.
like down by there.
Why couldn't I do it on the day where I had to go to work? And I'd be like,
Yeah. And that's really interesting.
So, and he's, is he, I suppose, hat colour?
It's a thought.
I mean,
Yeah, color. That's
Yeah, I
interesting.
like that idea.
like, I mean, there was the idea that
What would happen if you like hacked his CMYK colors?
CMY.
Yeah.
If you like used, I don't know, like if you put red in instead of like cyan.
yeah, so you swap pictures around. So you move the red to the yellow to the red, and then things like that. The green to the black to the
That's
green.
kind of interesting.
So you can try that.
Yeah, so it's like those kind of along those kind of lines of hacking like images to make design.
Yeah.
But I also I've been looking at a bit of coding as well. Like there's a program called Scriptograph, and it's basically a hack for Illustrator, and it basically allows you to. It's like a plugin, but it's a hack, and you can make like scripts within. So it's like a really powerful tool, and you can basically hack different tools in Illustrator to make really crazy effects, and like yeah, it's really interesting. Which I can show you. But I want to play around with that as well and do some stuff like that. So I've got a few ideas, but I need to like hone down now. And like I've done quite a bit of research, but I need to like I've got bookmarks. I need to get that actually like extract the information. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. I need to do some work basically because yesterday I was doing my own work, but
Yeah, so
I've got a week now just to.
Yeah, so you went to the pick me up without.
Yeah, I went to the pick me up, and that was a mistake.
I was like,
I was like, thanks for the invite.
No, we can go back. I was testing out. Alright, guys, it's pretty good. We should go and see it now. Should we go tomorrow now? I didn't want to waste your time. It might be rubbish.
Oh, okay. So you just had to test that out. Yeah.
they're kind of
Is it expensive? The stuff in the shop?
It wasn't too bad. I was surprised. Some of the prints were like 20 quid, like for like A2 prints. But like it was.
Is there anything you would have thought, I'll buy that?
Yeah, there was plenty of stuff. I was like, at the moment, I'm not like rolling in money, so I'm like, I don't know.
That'd be nice. Like getting
Yeah.
some posters. I've just bought a flat, so I need some new like.
I can get posters off. I've got a friend that works at the London Mayor's office, so you know the posters that go around. So I've got the New Year's Eve one. Yeah, I don't know whether you've seen that, like massive star in the silver foil.
Oh, yes.
No, I didn't see that.
See if we
nice.
get- yeah, it is nice. It's this one.
Yeah. But like,
2012.
there was some really nice. There's some really nice stuff there, and like some of it was quite reasonable price, like between like 40, but, like really nice screen prints, like A2, like really nice. I was like, damn.
That one.
How long is it open for?
Till Sunday, I think.
Yeah. That one.
Until 20.
Yeah, that's really nice.
So I've got that one at home.
Yeah.
And then I'll ask him for I don't know if they've seen the St. George's Dragon one, so it's like a dragon on a fork and it's got silver foil, so I'll ask him for that. So.
London, I've been looking at like London or Transport, whatever. All of them are really nice. Like the designs, like,
Especially the older ones.
Yeah.
Amazing.
The guy that does them now for the London Mayor's office, his
London
name's Tom Lancaster, and basically he was telling me how the process worked. Like they got all the posters they liked all together, and then they just kind of went through them and said, well, we like this part. So he came up with whole branding and everything. But yeah, so hopefully I'll work for him. So that'll be fun.
yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. I need to do a bit more work, I know. But I mean, if I was to go with systems, what kind of thing do you think I could use as the information side of it to make the posters or whatever? Something about hacking?
Oh, you mean the text?
Yeah, like text. If I was going to do something along the lines of like either hacking like in nature, but like if I actually had information to base it on.
But I think it really depends on like what your grid is gonna be on, like because if the message is important to you, then obviously that's a different story. But if the message itself isn't important, if like what you're doing, like if the image itself is important, then I guess like what you're writing on it is not like.
There's a whole book on it, so maybe you want to have a look at Systems in Nature.
Yeah.
Made in 1723.
Nice.
So have fun with that.
Okay.
You could like merge different systems onto each other.
Yeah, interesting.
No, Jimmy Tool one.
Merge type into each other.
Yeah.
That'd be quite cool to do a typeface, like making it out of the system.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But yeah, you could do that like very easily in Photoshop. Just like put two layers on each other. Like
You could almost, if you were going to do maps, you could do two types of maps on top of each other, like hacking systems like that. So yeah, I just need to. I want to start making and start experimenting now a bit more. So that's where I'm at.
Me too.
that's kind of where you get your ideas. I think like when start like because I didn't really know in the beginning.
we've
and
been
I started
talking
doing
for
like,
45
oh my god, I
minutes.
could do this and that.
I guess.
We've been talking for 45 minutes.
Oh god.
It's
Should
a
we
large
stop
file.
recording it now?
No, it's fine. We'll just keep recording all day. It's only 88.2 MB, which is
We'll
a
send
bit
it
much.
to I'll send it to you later on.
I'll put it on the blog. Jordan needs to listen to it. So, like, I'll group meet it.
Like for 45
If
minutes.
you made it
time.
this far, that's amazing.
Right. Okay. And